In this video, I thought I would tell you about the time that I performed at a private party for King Charles and had a little hangout with him afterwards, and why the whole thing still feels complicated. Seemed like the right time to tell the story. But before we get into it, if you're new here, thanks for visiting. My name is Matt Ricardo. I'm a cabaret performer and writer. And if you haven't already, I would love you to subscribe to my channel. It really helps small creators like me. Okay, enough of the contractually obliged YouTube malarkey, let's get into it. It was winter, just before the pandemic hit, and I got a call asking if I would like to do my act for a small audience at a party that Prince Charles, as he was then, was throwing for his staff. This was not a call I'd expected, and it felt nice to be asked. I mean, it always feels nice to be asked. It always means something to feel wanted. I am, after all, a shallow and vain theatrical. Wanting to be liked is what gets people like me in front of an audience in the first place. But more than that, it piqued my curiosity. I mean, not many people get to see the world of royalty up close, from the inside, in private, and I figured I probably wouldn't get the chance again. I'm a big believer in seeing things for yourself if you can. It always feels best to form an opinion about something by looking it in the eye. So, I said yes. The evening arrived and I stepped out of a black cab and rolled my suitcase into a palace. Not the palace, but a palace. It was a Christmas party for Charles's staff. A couple of hundred people, cocktails, canapes, and a little later me, doing my thing on a stage that I would share with a gigantic toy wooden soldier because Christmas. I'd been advised to refer to the audience as ladies and gentlemen and your royal highnesses, but I didn't. Everyone in my audience is equal, even if only for the time that I am on stage, so I called them the same thing that I always call them, my friends. Oh, and at one point in the act, for a cheap laugh, scum. Performing for people is a really nice way to get a quick feel for them. If I'm on my game, then an audience becomes relaxed, unguarded, and you see a little bit of the real them. And they were a lovely crowd. And sat right in the middle of the lovely crowd, at the front, were Chuck and Camilla. And unless you've experienced something like this, it's really hard to convey how completely odd it is to stare out at an audience of anonymous faces and see, right in the middle, two of the most recognisable people in the world. I mean, I'd been watching people on TV do impressions of this dude for literally all my life, and there he is, a few feet away, laughing at my jokes. It was bloody weird. At one point, while flipping a machete around in my hand, I cracked a joke that hinged on the idea of how easy it would be to assassinate him. This was, on reflection, perhaps a slight comedic risk. But Chaz elbowed Camilla in the ribs and they both rolled around laughing like children. And at that moment, I felt like I got a little glimpse of a real, genuine, sweet relationship. In that moment, they weren't special. They were just a couple in an audience being teased by a smart-mouthed idiot on stage. And they were having fun. I liked them. And then I hit my finale, it was over, and I hung out at the back of the room, my mind full of, well, that just happened. And a little later on, there was mingling. And I found myself, and there is no non-weird way of saying this, I found myself hanging out with the royal duo. And it was a nice hang. They were engaged in our conversation. They asked questions. They listened to my answers, cracked jokes, seemed interested. It was a nice chat. Now look, of course, I realise that this is pretty much exactly their job. Their whole thing is to meet people and leave a good impression, but the bottom line is that they're either really good at that or genuinely nice people. And frankly, either way, I've met plenty of less famous people who were less good at it. I liked them as people, but they're not just people, are they? They're figureheads, symbols, branding. And if I'm honest, I've never really been much of a fan of what they're selling. There is something to be untangled when you're faced with liking a person, but disliking what they represent. I liked who they are. I don't like what they are. Now, there's always an ongoing conversation about how much the royal family costs versus how much revenue it generates. It's the "well, actually" answer that you always get when you have the temerity to question this stuff. And of course, it's all very vague, deliberately so. The figures for how much of our taxes go to the royals are precise and freely available, but the numbers for how much they bring in are vague, wide-ranging, and estimated. And that's quite apart from where that money actually goes. But that, to me, all still seems like a bit of a misdirection. If the royals are a symbol, then what exactly are they a symbol of? Privilege? Unearned wealth? Lucky advantage? Hoarded riches? Inequality? Unfairness? I mean, these are not good qualities. How on earth have these things been packaged and sold to us as reasons to stand and cheer? Look, I'm sorry if I sound like an angry old socialist, but, I am. I'll just never feel okay in my gut about a guy sitting in a gold chair wearing £4 billion worth of headwear and accessories while nurses are going to a food bank literally 10 minutes walk from that gold chair. It seems to me that a situation like that transcends politics or opinion, and it's just about basic human decency. Or at least I guess it should be. Like I said, it's complicated. But they were lovely party hosts. Thanks for watching. I hope you found that interesting. I tried to keep it honest, but I'm sure you'll all have your own opinions about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed it, then make sure you subscribe and give it a share. My videos are supported by my backers over on Patreon, so a huge thanks, as always, to all of them for that. If you'd like to join them, there's a link below the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast I co-host with American writer Bill Barol, Imagination and Junk. It's about the hard work of creativity, and we just launched Season 2, so go get that wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.